Hey guys, Lady Liberty Stacker here. Happy New Year. It is Tuesday, January the 5th, 2021. And this is my first video this year. I've been pretty busy since I made the last one. The last one was a haul of some of these skillets you see over here. I made another one on January the 3rd, Sunday. Went to the antique mall just taking a chance that they had something, and the weather was decent that day. I mean, no heavy snow or anything, so we ventured out, took my mom with me, and we had a good time. But before I get to that, I want to give you some updates here on this cast iron here. And somebody made a comment, I don't know if it was on my videos or it was in one of the cast iron groups, but they were cooking on it and they realized, or they made cornbread, or something happened, and some of the seasoning came off. And when I started out my cast iron journey, I use Crisco all the time, and Crisco's good for seasoning. I mean, it'll at least be nice and dry until you cook again, and if you have a lot of skillets like I do, you don't use them all every day. So you want them nice and dry, and you don't want the oil to be rancid. So you want to make sure that you use a seasoning oil that is solid at room temperature. That way, you know, you don't have to keep it refrigerated, or like refrigerated is a flaxseed oil. You have to keep it refrigerated for the right kind. And again, I don't advocate flaxseed oil seasoning your skillets. The other type of oil that some people have been known to use are the canola oils, you know, in like you use for popcorn, or olive oil, but those are liquid at room temperature and they don't last, at least olive oil. Olive oil has a lower smoke point, and olive oil doesn't last longer than 6 months, at least so it says on the bottle. So you want to use something at room temperature, and the higher the smoke point, the better. That's why the seasoning pucks are great. Easy Beezy, Buzzy Wax, some of those. But anyway, this guy here is my go-to. It's a number 9 Wagner 1059 skillet. It is a chrome-plated or nickel-plated. It was probably chrome, as you can see here. It's got a little bit of a spin to it. Even spins a little bit on the tabletop here. But this thing is just fantastic. It's super smooth. But I made something in it. I'm trying to remember what I made. I think it was cornbread or a baked dessert. I can't remember. And it seemed to take off some of the seasoning because I had originally used Crisco. And Crisco won't last all that long, guys. I mean, you go a few times and you start to see that it fades. And I noticed it fading around here, so I thought, well, I didn't really want to throw it in the oven again. I had it ready to throw in, but I thought, you know what? I had to make bacon for a side dish for Christmas. So I decided to go ahead and fry up a whole pound of bacon in here. And I used a cast iron press to keep it down against the skillet here, and you can see from looking at this that the seasoning did great just with the bacon. But you want to make sure you use a press. I'll show you what I use. I have this press here. They have the antique ones that are even nicer without the screws, but this is a Lodge press, and here it is here, and you just basically, it keeps the bacon flat on the skillet when you are cooking it, so it will be flat and easier and cooks quicker and more consistently, and it will season your skillets that need a quick seasoning, and you don't want to do it in the oven, you know, with a formal seasoning session. So I just wanted to give you that tip. If you notice some of your seasoning coming off, just season it with bacon. So anyway, that's that. And then we're going to come over here with my last haul I made in early December. This turned out to be the Wagner Ware bacon and egg skillet, breakfast skillet. And I had cleaned it off and stripped it. It's been in the lye bath, back and forth between lye and vinegar. And I finally got it all stripped. And looks super terrific. It's ready to season now. I sprayed it down with the canola oil or Pam cooking spray, or the Grill Master that I usually use. Any of those would be fine. Rinsed it in cold water, thoroughly dried it with paper towels, and no sooner was it mostly dry, I started spraying it down with the oil. That will prevent the flash rust from happening. So that was a breakfast skillet, the 1101D. Wagner. This one, let me go to this one. This one is a BS&R. It is a number 3B. You can tell by the weird way the letters are kind of off center a little bit. 630 to 530 there. This is the Iron Mountain. I'm sorry, the Red Mountain series. It's Iron Mountain on Griswold, and it's Red Mountain on BS&R. But this is a nice little number 3. I got that mainly for myself because the price was a little higher than I normally pay. But it was such a nice specimen. It sits flat, real nice. And again, I sprayed it down with the oil. It hasn't been seasoned. It's been stripped. But you can tell one of these BS&R's Birmingham Stove and Range by the numbers are more crude here. The inset heat ring, the small pour spouts, you can see there. And then you see the ridge that goes all the way to the sidewall on the handle. And their handles look nice and crisp with like a dual tiered teardrop on the skillet itself. And then we have the Wagner ware with the heat ring. This is the older ones made in the early 1900s. It's a Wagner ware, Sydney O, 1058. I think it's I. And again, this one cleaned up really nice. Again, I sprayed it down with the oil, so there's no flash rust. I can't season these today. I've got too much to do. So that's why I do that. If you're not going to season right away, these will hold probably for up to a week. I usually am only comfortable leaving them for a day to a few days at the most. But you just wipe off the excess down when you go to warm them up in the oven. When you do your first round of oven warm-up before you actually apply the first layer of seasoning. But this is a nice skillet. Picked this up for 20 bucks. That was about $20. This was about $21. Really good deal for these at an antique mall. And this one was a Facebook Marketplace. And this is a large logo, double cross Griswold number 5. You don't see these too often. They're quite rare. And again, I stripped it all down. It's all ready to go. It's not been, I'm going to go ahead and just smooth it over there. Just keep the oil. And I just periodically come around and just make sure that they're still rubbed down real nice. And on the back there. And you can see how crisp all the fonts are. This is gorgeous. This was a Facebook Marketplace. The guy had it for $35. I offered him $30 and he took it. I drove up there and got it. I couldn't be happier. I mean, no cracks that I can see. So that's the update on this stuff. I still have the little Taiwan number 3, the number 7 and number 10 BS&Rs in the lye bath. I needed to get the lye bath cleared out because I got 5 more in here. So I will be back to show you that. Just got to wash my hands off. I'll be back. Okay guys, I am back. I'm going to show you my haul now. We might get interrupted. I have a new interesting Christmas present I got from my daughter-in-law this year. And it's taken a lot of time away from my other activities, and he may make an appearance in the video. So without further ado, we're going to go and show you what I picked up at the antique mall. Mom and I went on Sunday, January 3rd, and we were looking for her. I gave her a skillet that I had that had a crack in it. It was sitting there, and she needed something to do eggs with, so I gave her that. And we were at the antique mall. They were still having their year-end Black Friday sale. It runs through the middle of March or middle of January, and we found this gorgeous 3-notch Lodge number 5. This one was a little bit later. It's still vintage, but I would think 60s, maybe 60s it was made, or 70s. I have to do a little bit of research, but it sat flat. Hardly any rust whatsoever. I probably could just wash this, clean it up real good and season it, but I'll probably end up stripping it. That's what I do with most of mine. This was priced at $15. We got 10% off, so it was $13.50. A steal for a skillet like this. Not necessarily collectible, but I got it for her, or I may sell it online. Not sure. So there's that one, the 3-notch Lodge. Then next up was an interesting piece I hadn't run into before. This one is a cornbread skillet. And You can tell by the handle. Just went over that on a previous skillet. You should know what it is. It's a BS&R with the rib to go into the sidewall and the two-tiered drop handle. And it's got the little donut hole in the middle. And on the bottom, it says cornbread skillet. And they only made these in two sizes. They had a 6 wedge and they had an 8 wedge. You see the 6 wedge a lot more frequently than the 8 wedge, or at least I do. Even a search on eBay, there are a lot more of the 6 wedges. These are a little bit more rare. They're not rare. They're just less populous than the 6 wedge cornbread pans. But these are nice and shallow. And if you like cornbread, I do. I might keep this, but again, I may flip it. But it was decent. I got 20% off. I got it for, I think, $14.60. So that was a nice little acquisition there. And next up, I have, get it out of here, a number 8. This is, again, you should know it's a BS&R. It's got the small pour spouts, the inset heat ring. It's got the crude numbers. It has an 8 with the dot and a dash. The dash with an 8, if it were up here on its side, it would have been a Vollrath. But the Vollraths had external heat rings. This is an inset heat ring. And this is a number 8. But it would be the Iron Mountain series of BS&R made in about the 1950s, I think. So it's Iron Mountain or Red Mountain series BS&R. Later, the ones made in the 60s into the later 60s was referred to as the Century series. But anyway, this one had a fair amount of rust on it. It was priced at $15, 20% off. I got it for $12. I figured for $12, things seemed fairly solid. I couldn't see any cracks. I felt it. I gave it a ring test all the way around. It seemed to be okay. Again, you don't know for sure until you take it out alive, but this is going to be a nice user for somebody that wants it. A number 8 is one of the most common sizes. It can be used for virtually everything. You can do a little pizza in it. You can do scrambled eggs. You can do a fried egg. You can do a pancake. You could do 2 or 3 strip steaks in here, all different kinds of things. But that's a nice pan, BS&R. So there's a BS&R number 8 and a BS&R number 3 over there. And then we have, and they always wrap everything up with newspaper. And you got to be really careful. If you go out and buy a bunch of cast iron, guys, you don't just simply want to stack it in your car because it could crack. That's how things crack sometimes, when they just jostle around in the back of your car or truck or van or whatever. And you need to be careful. Even take towels, put cast iron between the towels or newspaper, anything to cushion them. But anyway, this is a Wagner. You can see it's got nice round, you can't really see here with the crud on it, but I can see through it that there's nice swirl design on the finish. And this was $25. I got 20% off, so I got it for $20. I thought that was a great deal. A Wagner ware. It's 1109, so it's about a, I think it's a 10 or 11 inch, something like that. Probably a 10 inch, I can tell just from size. But this is very nice. It sits flat. It's going to be a great griddle for somebody. You could do grilled cheese on that, quesadillas, almost, scrambled eggs and bacon at the same time, almost anything. Then finally, the last piece that I ended up getting was a Dutch oven. And this was $39, down from $50. It's a number 8. And we're going to, some of the seasoning is stripped off here, so we're just going to go ahead and give it a total strip. And we're going to take a look here. This is an unmarked Griswold. You can tell with the 4-digit pin number. It's a 1037, and it's got the little markings on the inside of the lid. The whole idea was to gather steam, and it would condense up here and drip back onto your food. I picked that up from Cast Iron Cookware's channel. I didn't really realize that. I didn't stop to think about it, but that's great in keeping your food nice and moist in a Dutch oven. But that is an unmarked Griswold lid. I'm going to go ahead and put it down. Just put it there for now. And then the under part of it, it's got a lot of it's going to take a lot of doing. It's going to take a lot of soaking. And I'll just probably end up soaking, going back and forth between vinegar and the lye bath. And every time you scrub after a round with lye bath to a vinegar and then back into lye, just softens the next coat of underlying carbonized seasoning. And that's what you have to do, but it'll come off. And guess what? Uh-oh, there he goes. He thinks he's... Sometimes I don't want him up here because I don't want him, licking the oil off my cast iron. I don't think that would probably be healthy for him. I don't know. But this is a dual logo. It is a small block logo Griswold and a Wagner ware. It's a 5-quart made in the USA. So these were made in the early to mid 60s. And the dual logos were kind of done away with after a while. Now he's doing something. He is just ornery. He's a pistol, this cat. He's like a little toddler getting into everything. So I've been busy with him. That's why you haven't seen much of me. But anyway, this is a dual logo. Wagner ware Griswold Dutch oven, and they stopped making them in the 60s. Rumor has it there was a lawsuit that Griswold told them that they couldn't do that, but I believe they just phased them out over time. There are not very many of them. They didn't make that many of the dual logo pieces. So we'll see how it shapes up. It sits flat. It'll be a great Dutch oven for roasts. You don't really need a super smooth cooking surface for that. But I've seen them like this, just as bad, and with a fair amount of soaking and just occasional scrubbings in between with the Brillo pad. And just cold water rinses, you're good to go. You just have to let time do the work. They don't happen overnight unless you have an E-tank. But I got plenty of pieces to work on, as you can see, so I don't really care. Anyway, got this one for $39.50, so I think I've done good. Got these for under $100. And anyway, I'm ready to start the new year off. I hope you guys are. Keep it safe. Leave a question or comment below. I do appreciate you watching, and give me a thumb up if you like to see videos like this. With the more thumbs up or even thumbs down, YouTube thinks it's relevant, and they will rank the video higher in search so more people like you that need this information can see it as a recommended video. Anyway, thanks again, guys, for watching. Thanks for your sub to my channel, and I'll be back for the next one real shortly. Take care.